astronautics, and space-related fields. We are very excited to have him with us today. You will get your recognition, and I know you're so good at that. I'm so proud of you. So if you would, please help me welcome Mr. Mike Mondo.
That was straight out of Google.
Yes, it is. Thank you.
Good job. Thanks, Marlo. My people. My people. Oh my gosh, I like the silence that you guys are able to manifest. Usually at this point, I don't really. I don't know. Actually, I'm going to use a human being. Who's going to be running my video camera? Who's the person that is really, you got that skill? Come on. Is that a Burning Man shirt? Is that a Burning Man shirt? Oh, cool. Sweet. That's sweet. Here. It's on right now. Up about you can follow me because I'm highly active.
Okay.
I'm going to be super motivated. I'm not standing right here.
Okay.
You're an athletic person?
Mm-hmm.
I've heard good things about the athletics of Mechanicsburg. See, I heard that there's this rivalry, actually. I heard there's this group called the Tigers. And then I heard there's this group called the Indians.
Mm-hmm.
So which is a superior group athletically? Is it the Indians or is it the Tigers?
The Indians.
Which group is it? Okay, and now here's the interesting thing. I'm gonna be able to gauge this because I was in Indian territory I was in Tiger territory this morning. Don't say that any louder. I'm gonna be on a stage of this. Like I'm not from here. I get to travel around a lot, and so this is my first time in Ohio. This is actually the very first time I've picked an apple off of a tree and eaten it. I'm from Florida, Key West, and so we get mangoes like you all pick apples. And I live in Los Angeles now. London, you're doing an amazing job. And I brought some stuff. The stuff is going to go for the Champaign County Science Fair. So I'm going to make an opportunity so that the first 50 people to sign up for the Champaign County Science, first 50 students. Oh, hey. My name is Mike Mondo, and I'm an astronaut teacher. Pow. So the first 50 students to sign up for the Champaign County Science Days are going to get, I brought 20 of these United Launch Alliance remove before flight spaceship tags. So the first 20 people who sign up get this with their science teacher, and then I brought 30 of these United Launch Alliance Atlas V rocket stickers that are awesome. And actually they're so awesome that it's hard for me to give them up because I love them so much. But since you guys are in Urbana and don't get that kind of stuff all the time, I brought them for you. But it's going to be the first 50 people to sign up for the Science Days. All right, I'm just letting you know. I know, that's how this is going to work. My people. Here's the interesting thing about Ohio that many of you don't know. Look at you all have. Here's the interesting thing about Ohio that many of you all don't know. More astronauts come from Ohio than any other state in the country. Big hand for Ohio. So how this affects you is like this. So there's only 6 of me on the planet, 6 astronaut teachers. 3 of us have been to space and 3 of us haven't. I'm one of the ones that has not. The reason I became an astronaut teacher, and I get to do this, is because when I was you, what you got, Lee? when I was you, when I was you, when I was you. No one gave me permission to imagine myself living, working, and playing in space. Now this is a big deal, because this is the start. This is how it happens. This is the thing. Because you happen to have been born when you were born, and you happen to be here right now in this evolution of human history, at this moment, you have the opportunity to live, work, and play in space in a way that none of us grown-ups ever did. This is your moment. You happen to be born in the right time, in the right age, right now, to make this happen. Well, that's Dr. Cowboy. And it's even cooler than that. And I'll tell you why. Why? Because, see, we all have this, particularly us grown-ups, we have this idea of what an astronaut is. It's an old idea. It's like the idea of the astronaut that we have is a slow-moving, bulky figure. It's like that. That's how it used to be when we were kids. But that's not that yet. I'm a little older than you. But now, there's a whole new thing that's happening. A whole new thing. We're about to put the first person who's a girl or a woman on the moon. Like that opportunity has opened it up. We're about to put the first group of kids ever in the history of humanity is about to get to go to space. Oh, did I say get to? Like it's only gonna be privileged kids? Here's how we pick out this group of students who get to go to space. Do you play together well as a team? So since Mechanicsburg Indians, we've already got that established that you all do. You got one going for you. Believe it or not, it's how good your heart is. Yeah, are you a compassionate person? Maybe you are, maybe you aren't. So when I was you, I didn't know everything about myself, and then I learned. Do you like to help other people? Right? Most of us do. It's a natural thing. And so there's some of us that are more contentious, and we like to get into fights, and we get into battles, and we cause situations. Or we got situations that lead us to do that. And sometimes even those challenges lead like, wow, that's an obstacle overcomer, that person. So if you count yourself out, then it makes the list easier for everybody else. But if you put yourself in there, yeah, all you gotta do is all you have to do is set your intention. Now, a lot of us, and even while we're having this engaging conversation, we're talking about this and we got these ideas in this and we're running past it, even though we're having this conversation, like not everybody really feels like the urge to go to space because of this idea of this old style of astronaut that I was just talking about a second ago. Because that doesn't necessarily, that's not appealing, that's not sexy. Here. But here's the thing. Since it's the future, by the way, it is the future. Since it is the future, if you Google new astronaut suit, new astronaut uniform, you'll see that the new ones look more like Spider-Man than they do Neil Armstrong.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, what's
I mean, they are what my people call fresh. They're what my people call dope. They're what my people would call, when I was you, we would say it was banging. That these new astronaut uniforms they got. And you know why it's like that? Partially because the technology is developed, but partially because of the new jobs that we're going to be doing in space. We're not going to be doing that old style of space exploration. We already explored. We already know how to do that. So we got a new thing going on. Dr. Washington at Urbana University loves when I tell students this. Because a lot of students don't know, because a lot of grown-ups don't know it. As grown-ups here, here's one of the things about us being grown-ups. We've heard a lot of this kind of talk before. Like we get promised stuff that we were anticipating for the future. Because when we were you, we heard about what's coming in the future, and then we began to picture ourselves in the future, and then here we are, we're in the future. This is the future. My future is your present. When I was you, I imagined how the future was, and then suddenly, here I am in the future like me now. The same thing gets to happen for you. And I'm about to bestow a superpower upon you.
What?
Oh, man. There are so many things that we as grown-ups do not explain. You set your intent for anything. You set your intent for anything. And you can accomplish it. It's hard to believe. Sometimes there's a little voice inside our head that tells us that we can't. Sometimes we are our own worst enemy. There's a thing that I just told one of my professor friends is a PhD, one of the highest level of educational accomplishment you can achieve. And I told her about this thing called impostor syndrome. And she said, impostor syndrome, what is that? I said, impostor syndrome is when there's a little voice inside your head that's like, wow, wait till they find out you're not supposed to be an astronaut teacher. Wait till they find out that you're not supposed to be in front of people. Wait till they find out that you're not good enough. It's a little voice in our own head that plays. And you know who I learned it from? The first person to walk on the moon, his name is Neil Armstrong, and he had a rough case of, and he's from here, and he had a rough case of imposter syndrome. He's like, I don't even know why they're having me on stage. All I did was go where they told me to go. That's how he thought of himself. Now, if Neil Armstrong, who went to the moon and came back and lived to tell the story and inspire all of us so that we're having this moment here in the future feels like that, what hope is there for us? The hope is this. We learn about it. We discover that we can be our own worst enemy. We can be our own worst enemy. Or we can be our own best ally. It's awesome. And that's a mighty power. That wasn't the specific one. The specific one is this. You set your intention on something, some goal. It does not matter what it is. Whatever the thing is, like I said, our hearts. Whatever the thing is in our hearts, whatever the thing that we want. You set your intention on something that you want that is in your heart. And not everybody is going to say this to you. And you will be able to achieve it. In fact, there are people in our lives who will tell us otherwise. You can't do this. You're not good enough. There's people who are close to us who tell that to us. So what we do is strategic. We surround ourselves with the people that back our dreams, that see us for who we really are, and then we distance ourselves from those who don't believe in us. Are we aligned? Are we in agreement? When I ask a question, it's going to work like this. Yes, we are in agreement, or no, we're not in agreement. Are we in agreement? Yes. Excellent. Perfect. I'm here today because this next generation of space explorers and people that get to work in space, I'm saying that Dr. Washington has this thing that he loves when I tell students, and that is this. Here it is. In 2 to 4 years, we're going to have space hotels. There'll be hotels that people can stay in space. In 2 to 4 years. Now, we as grown-ups have heard stuff like this our entire lives, and we get skeptical. This is specifically why I do not work with grown-ups. Because skeptical doesn't get us where we want to go. But the fact is this. Google Space Hotel. Right now, at the International Space Station, We have a component attached to the space station that's just been up there for 2 years in operation, attached to it on the side. It's pressurized, it's made of Kevlar, which is bulletproof, which prevents micrometeorites from piercing it. And it's a test module from Bigelow Aerospace, who is working to put up the very first space hotel. And they're well into it. And here's the cool thing. So now I know as a grown-up that the people that get to stay in the space hotel are going to be what I call overly wealthy. Okay? So that's not me. I also know as a grown-up that the overly wealthy people on the planet love when there's people that cook them a steak, get their clothes, run the hotel, do entertainment, move them around from place to place, make sure that the plumbing is working, make sure that the spaceship, the air is still working in the space hotel, make sure there's food to eat. Space farmer is a real job. People who are wealthy, overly wealthy, a lot of times they like to bring their cats and their dogs with them, so there's going to be space veterinarians. That gets to them. I have friends who are space veterinarians right now. I have friends who are space botanists. We're taking apple seeds from the last living Johnny Appleseed apple tree, a tree that a man planted 200 years ago. He planted 6 million apple seeds. I did the math, I did the research, I found out. I didn't see it documented online. I found it out because I did the research. And there's one tree left that we know that he planted that's alive, and I went to see it in Ohio, here. And I collected apples off of it because of all the years it decided to have apples. This is the year it decided to have apples, the year that I'm here. I trust those things. Some people call it coincidence, some people call it kismet, some people call it synchronicity, some people call it God's will, some people call it luck. I call it intention. It's my job to inspire you to know. It's my job to give you permission to imagine yourself to live, work, and play in space. It's my job to inspire you. And so I realized that here's this guy who, as a teenager, walked across the United States and planted all these. It wasn't all the United States then. It wasn't even some states. He walked through frontier land with rattlesnakes and bears and wolves alone and planted these seeds. And the funny thing about these seeds, the interesting thing about these apple seeds, is in order to claim territory back in the day, you had to have 50 fruit trees growing on your property. And so he just went that, no one paid him to do that. He had a vision. And he went and planted these trees, and then people like us went and claimed that territory and homesteaded. And then other people did it on the other side. And then suddenly communities developed. And this is how the United States formed, because this one person, if you have any doubts that one person can make a difference in the world. So I felt obliged to go and visit this last remaining tree, get those seeds, and I have this relationship with United Launch Alliance, and the CEO of United Launch Alliance himself, Tori Bruno, promised to take those seeds to space for me. We're taking apple seeds from Ohio to space. Then we're going to bring them back, and we're going to plant them. We're going to propagate them next to regular apple seeds and see what the difference between space apple seeds and regular apple seeds. And we're going to grow them into Johnny Appleseed space apple trees. And they're going to be at schools here in Urbana. And then maybe I'll eat the space apples and get superpowers. I don't know. We'll see. But we get to see. We get to participate. Here in Urbana. Well, Mechanicsburg. Close. Champaign County. All of this space botany, space agriculture. But I got one I haven't even pulled out of my pocket yet, a special one. Special for Mechanicsburg. Because I heard Mechanicsburg's got the highest test score, and I heard Mechanicsburg's got great athletic skills, so I got a special one that I saved. A special incentive, a special aspiration. Super awesome. Because we're about to have space hotels, and we're about to have space jobs. What is it?
Save the turtles.
Is there anybody in here who would want to be a professional athlete? Show hands. professional athletes in the house? Great, thank you. Okay. So check this out. I'm not an athlete, I'm a mathlete. Nonetheless, I don't think there's anybody in this room that can outrun me. We already tested it at some of the other schools. And the reason I'm asking is because we are about to have space sports. Google it. We're about to have space sports. Now here's the interesting thing. Are there any fourth graders here? Are there any fifth graders here? Are there any sixth graders here? Are there any seventh graders here? Are there any eighth graders here? Okay, sixth, seventh, and eighth, watch this. There's 4.5 million sixth, seventh, and eighth graders in the United States right now. And let's say that half of those, and then half again. So we're at I'm rounded off. We're about 1.25 million people that want to play. Let's say 1.125 million students that want to play football. Let's say football, okay? 1.25. So all of the people that want to play professional sports, y'all are in competition with 1.25 other 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. Got it? And I mean, I know there's other sports. I got it. But we're just saying for the sake of whatever. So let's say this door over here. Oh, if you're playing professional sports, you should be studying it like it's homework. If you're really about it. So in the United States, there's 2,100 professional football player positions. 2,100. 2,100 people can fit through here, but I guarantee 1.125 million people cannot fit through that door. And that's only 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. That doesn't count 4th, 5th, 4th, 3rd graders. That doesn't count the 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th graders. That doesn't count freshmen, sophomores, juniors, seniors. That doesn't count the people that didn't go to college. That doesn't count the people that after college will still imagine playing this game. Wow! Just to get through that door, 2,100 people? I don't present challenges without solutions. There's another door. Look, no one's even paying attention to this door over here. This door over here, not for me, not for anybody here. Hey, it's only for you. Because that door is space sports. That door is space tennis. That door is space soccer. That door is space volleyball. That door is space basketball. A basketball hoop is about 10 feet off the ground, right? Right? On the moon, because we only have 1/6 the gravity, we can have a hoop that is 40 feet up in the air. Imagine playing where you can jump 40 feet into the air. Space Jam for real.